Easter weekend. Deep beneath London's Diamond District, a heavy industrial drill shreds through 50 centimetres of solid concrete. But the men operating it aren't an elite tactical squad, they are pensioners. One requires severe diabetes medication, another walks with a permanent limp. Their mastermind is 76 years old. Above ground, a vault alarm screams. The central police station receives the alert and deliberately decides to take absolutely no action. Days later, this crew of senior citizens walks away with £14 million in diamonds and gold, executing the most notorious security breach in British history. They spent 3 agonising years engineering this phantom extraction. They secured the wealth. They vanished without a physical trace. But despite beating an underground fortress, they made a series of fatal logistical errors. So, how did a crew of grandfathers paralyze London's ultimate vault? And exactly what microscopic mistake brought their entire multi-million-pound empire crashing down? To understand the execution, we must examine the personnel. Brian Reader served as the primary architect. He was 76 years old. Reader possessed a lengthy historical record of property acquisition operations. He understood the system. The remaining team members were primarily in their 60s and 70s. They carried the physical burdens of age. They experienced severe medical conditions. They required regular medication. They lacked the physical stamina typical for this level of physical exertion. John Collins held the role of the transport specialist. He monitored the perimeter and managed the vehicles. Then there was the specialist known only as Basil. His real name was Michael Seed. He was 54 years old. Seed possessed a unique technical proficiency. He was the only individual capable of neutralizing the advanced alarm grid. This group did not rush. They applied patience. For 3 consecutive years, these men conducted weekly meetings. Every Friday night, they gathered at a local establishment. They reviewed blueprints. They analyzed security patrols. They identified structural weaknesses. They selected their target, the Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company. They selected their timeline, the Easter holiday weekend. April 2nd, 2015, 9:23 p.m. The operation commences. Michael Seed, operating under the alias Basil, approaches the target building. He wears a disguise. He utilizes a false hairpiece to alter his appearance. He acts as a routine maintenance worker. He gains entry. 3 other members follow him inside. They push large industrial refuse bins. They wear hard hats. They wear high-visibility safety jackets. They wear masks to obscure their facial features. Basil moves to the 2nd floor. He isolates the elevator system. He disables the cabin, preventing anyone from the upper floors from descending into the basement area. He deploys signal jamming technology to disrupt cellular communications. Outside, John Collins takes his position. He sits inside a vehicle across the street, stationed near building number 25 on Hatton Garden. He monitors the street. He provides the perimeter watch. Below ground, the heavy labour begins. They engage the industrial core drill. The machine grinds against the reinforced concrete. The noise echoes through the empty corridors. The sound travels upward, but it dissolves into the absolute silence of the holiday weekend. The streets are empty. No citizens hear the disturbance. Despite the signal jamming, the primary intrusion alarm triggers. The alert reaches the police dispatch centre. The system functions correctly. However, a severe communication breakdown occurs at the dispatch level. The authorities categorise the alert as a low-priority system malfunction. No officers dispatched to the location. The police department later issues a formal statement of regret. The apology recovers 0 assets. Back in the vault, the operation encounters a critical failure. The concrete gives way, but a heavy metal cabinet blocks the other side of the hole. The drill malfunctions. The path remains completely obstructed. Physical exhaustion sets in. The physical toll on the elderly men is immense. Brian Reader, the 76-year-old leader, reaches his limit. He evaluates the situation. He decides the operation is a failure. He abandons the site. He travels back to his residence. The remaining members face a choice. They choose to persist. They have nothing to lose. They leave the facility and source new hydraulic equipment. They return 2 days later on April 4th. The new equipment functions. They clear the obstruction. The breach is complete. Michael Seed and a member named Jones crawl through the narrow concrete opening. Terry Perkins remains on the exterior side of the wall. Inside the vault, they pry open the secure boxes. They extract diamonds. They secure loose gemstones. They collect solid gold bars. They gather physical currency. They pass the inventory through the hole. Perkins loads the assets directly into the industrial bins. Sunday arrives. The extraction concludes. The men load the bins into a white transit van. John Collins drives the team away from the perimeter. They leave behind absolute structural devastation. 73 heavy metal safe deposit boxes hang open. The floor is covered in debris. Before departing, Basil executed one final security measure. He located the primary surveillance server. He removed the hard drives. He eliminated the visual evidence. However, he made a single catastrophic omission. He failed to identify a secondary, isolated camera positioned on a fire escape stairwell. That camera recorded everything. The investigation begins. Law enforcement discovers the secondary camera. The footage survives. The video does not reveal their faces, but it reveals the vehicles. Investigators identify the white Mercedes utilized by John Collins. This single data point breaks the entire case. The police utilize advanced tracking technology. They locate the vehicles associated with the suspects. They do not execute immediate arrests. They employ patience. They install hidden audio recording devices inside the suspects' vehicles. For weeks, authorities listen to the syndicate. The audio feeds provide an undeniable record of guilt. The elderly men engage in severe verbal altercations. They argue over the distribution of the assets. They blame each other for minor logistical failures. Furthermore, they display immense arrogance. They openly boast about the success of the breach. They discuss the details of their methods. They provide the police with a complete verbal confession. The authorities execute synchronized apprehension operations. The audio recordings serve as the primary evidence during the legal proceedings. The convictions are absolute. Yet one man remains absent: Basil. Michael Seed vanished from the grid. He carried approximately £10 million of the acquired assets. For 3 years, he evaded international law enforcement. In 2018, the pursuit concludes. Detectives analyze surveillance footage from various locations. They notice a specific physical trait. Seed possesses a highly distinct asymmetrical walking pattern, the result of a chronic leg condition. This unique physical movement allows investigators to track him to a residential apartment. The police breach the door. They apprehend the final suspect. The legal system required total accountability. The syndicate paid a severe price. The physical reality of their age caught up with them. Individuals like Terry Perkins and Brian Reeder passed away while incarcerated or shortly after receiving medical release. They spent their final days in confinement. However, the true weight of this event falls upon the civilian clients. The individuals who utilized the Hatton Garden vault lost their life savings. They lost family heirlooms. They lost financial security. For these citizens, the event created a permanent financial tragedy. The authorities only recovered £4 million of the stolen assets. £10 million remain completely unaccounted for. Psychologists and analysts evaluate the motives of this syndicate. The audio recordings suggest this operation extended beyond mere financial gain. These men possessed enough capital to survive. They executed this breach to prove a point. They sought to demonstrate that they still possessed high-level operational capability in their twilight years. They wanted to prove they were still relevant. They succeeded in making history. They failed in keeping their freedom. Evaluate the methodology of this specific group. What is your assessment of a syndicate composed entirely of senior citizens operating at this magnitude? And the final variable remains unsolved. £10 million vanished from the timeline. Where do you think the remaining assets are currently hidden?